So the question for this presentation is, are there any specific norms that you should follow to get your employment pass approved as a promoter of the company? So just to clarify, the specific situation that we are referring here is a foreigner is incorporating a company in Singapore. After incorporating the company, the foreigner wants to apply for the employment pass and after approval wants to relocate to Singapore and work for this company. Obviously, if the employment pass is not approved, then the plan is in jeopardy. In the sense, he won't be able to relocate to Singapore and won't be able to work for this company. So people often have concerns about this process, and what happens is that they have heard lot of stories or advices, and many well-known companies also are involved in this. So some of the competitors from the same industry or competitors have put this kind of advices. So let's have a look what typically is advice for this activity. So in some cases, the advice is, if you want to apply for the employment pass for your own self under the company, then do not be the director of the company. Get somebody else to act as the director of the company. Another advice often given is, do not hold any shares in the company in case you want to apply for employment pass. The third variation may go is that hold either less than or more than 30% of the shares in the company. Or sometimes the advice is that if you hold more than a specific percentage of shareholding, Ministry of Manpower may ask you to apply under entry pass instead of employment pass. So these kind of advices are floating around there, and to be frank, what people do, what these companies are doing is that when they see the customer is bit worried, they just tell one of this as a kind of a great secret in order to secure that business. Now let's have a look what factors actually influence the employment pass approval in general. So there are 4 factors. The first one is employing company background and the capital that the company is bringing in. Now obviously if your company is newly incorporated, it does not have a background. But in that case, either the parent company background, or if the individual is the whole 100% shareholder, then that person's background can be considered in place of employing company. And obviously capital is also important, because if you are incorporating a company with $1 share capital, you don't really expect ministry will approve the employment pass, because employment pass you are going to get a salary of at least 6,000 or so, and then if you consider 6 months reserve, then 36,000 or $40,000 capital is expected at least for first 6 months salary. So employing company background and capital becomes important. The second factor is, if the person who is going to be employed has skills which are in demand in Singapore. So if you are incorporating a company and if your skills are in a very normal sector like retail sale or general management or logistics, then obviously that is not considered favorable. But if you hold the skills, if the candidate hold the skills which are not generally available in Singapore, maybe like information technology or marine and shipping or maybe biotechnology, then obviously that is considered favorable. The next point that is considered is employed candidate background. So what this candidate has done in past and what kind of jobs he has done and what kind of experience he has, and maybe what kind of educational qualification he holds. So educational qualification is also important. Normally bachelor's degree is expected here. And the last factor is the salary that the company will be paying to this candidate, because higher the salary, more senior the person is. That is a general logic. So all these factors together will influence the employment pass approval decision. And this decision is generally taken in principle by evaluating the total profile. So now let's go back again to the points that we have seen and let's review those. So the first point is, do not be the director of the company, get your friend or somebody else instead. So frankly, this point does not have any logic. Whether you are director of the company or not on record, it doesn't really matter, because the overall profile will be considered. In fact, using somebody else may be detrimental to your application, because that somebody else may not be from the area or from the sector or from the domain to which you belong to. For example, if you are starting a research company and you have significant background, but the director, that is your friend who appoint as a director is from shipping industry, then in that case, Ministry of Manpower officers will get confused as to why a shipping person is opening a company in the field of research. Now here comes the next rule: do not hold any shares or hold less than or more than 30% shares. So again, this point doesn't have any relevance because whether it is held by you or by anybody else, the profile of the company is not really going to change. And the last point is, if you hold more than specific percentage, Ministry of Manpower may ask you to apply under entry pass. This is again not correct because entry pass is for the people who are applying under entrepreneur scheme who do not normally have the required educational qualification but have the business experience, and they are getting approval or they are getting the investment from venture capitalist, and or they are having some intellectual property. So you can refer to our entry pass guide for this. So as such, these points do not really hold true in this specific case. In my experience, what we have seen, majority of the cases we have handled for employment pass do not comply to these norms. Typically, those cases that we handle are where the promoter is applying for the EP, holds 100% shares in the company, and is also the sole director in majority of the cases. Still, in majority of these cases that we have handled, employment pass is approved. So in summary, application of employment passes are evaluated in principle for the strength of the profile. Decision is based on the overall evaluation. And
thank you for watching this video. This video was brought to you by Epica Consulting Singapore. Subscribe to our channel today to get notified when new videos are posted.